What is that? Oh. Kochi. Now I remember. Yeah. Why not? You remember? You must be remembering. I pointed out towards you. Great. That's the best part of it. And
Auditorium. can hear me, I would request everyone to please step in. You can do the registration later after the inaugural session is over. Requesting everyone, whoever is standing outside, you can do the needful for the registration little later after the inaugural session. I would request everyone to please come inside and take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome you all fine people to this Global Valuation Summit 2019 organized by Institution of Valuers. Since this is a formal conglomerate, I would request everyone to put your mobile phones in the silent mode, please. Everyone else, I would request you to be seated. Shubham karotyam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepa jyoti namastute. Deepa jyoti namastute. Salutation to the light of the lamp, which brings auspiciousness, health, prosperity, and of course, which destroys the inimical feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, and of course, the distinguished dignitaries, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome you all to this Global Valuation Summit 2019. On the occasion of the 50th Indian Valuers Congress, I once again like to thank each one of you to be present here. Global Valuation Summit. At this juncture, shall be a crucial platform for disseminating know-how on valuation and showcasing the profound impact on the current practices of the valuation profession by interacting amongst the valuers and stakeholders beyond boundaries. It is the time, and of course our honor, to invite on stage our distinguished guests. I would like to invite Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan, the President, IOV, on the stage, please. And I would also request Mr. P. Madhu to present to him with a flower bouquet. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to invite our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo, to be on the stage, please. Can I request Mr. Tanuj Kumar Bhatnagar to present our chief guest with the flower bouquet? Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite on stage Dr. Norm Miller, the guest of honor for today, on the stage, please. And I would request Mr. Sandip to present to him with the flower bouquet, please. I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Abraham Samoy, the MD, White Rock Consulting Limited, on the stage, please. And I would request Mr. Neeraj Kapoor to present to him. I think I would like to invite on stage Mr. Vinay Goel, Honorary General Secretary, IOV. And can I request Mr. Sanjay Dungalal to present him with the flower bouquet. Thank you, sir. And now we'll be officially starting the day, of course, with the lighting of the lamp. And to do the honor, I would request our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo, to come forward for the lighting of the lamp. And to join him, I would request all the other dignitaries to come forward. Thank you.
सुखकर्ता दुःखहर्ता वार्ता विघ्नाची पूर्वी पूर्वी प्रेम कृपा जयाची सर्वांगी सुंदर विशेंदुराची कंठी झळके माळ मुक्ता फळाची जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ती दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ती जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ती दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ती जय देव जय देव रत्न खचित फरा तुझ गौरी कुमरा चंदनाची उटी कुंकुम केशरा हिरे जडित मुकुट शोभतो बरा झुळझुळती नुपुरे चरणी घागरिया जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ती दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ती जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय मंगल मूर्ती दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ती जय देव जय देव
Thank you, everyone. And officially, with the Ganesh Vandana, we have inaugurated this wonderful day with you all fine people. Can we have a big round of applause, please? Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is the time that we've been waiting for a long time. It is the launch of the GVS souvenir, and I would request Dr. M.S. Sahoo, our chief guest of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, the souvenir is there. And now it is the time that we've been waiting kind of patiently. We have our speakers, and it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce them in front of you in the inaugural session that we have. Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan, the president of IOV. Mr. Thiagrajan was born in 1941, graduated BSc, BE, Mechanical from Madras University and postgraduate in sugar engineering from National Sugar Institute, Kanpur with top ranks. Served in sugar industry for over 30 years in India and abroad as various senior executive project manager, vice president. In his capacity of vice president, he served many prestigious institutions like World Academy of Engineers, BRICS Federation of Engineering Organizations, Indian Technology Congress Association, and even a cultural organization like Rasika Ranjana Sabha. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to invite Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan to the podium to say a few words.
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, respected ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The beautiful thing about today is that you get a chance to make it a better than yesterday. I, on behalf of Institution of Valuers, celebrating its 50th year, proudly welcome you for Global Valuation Summit. The Institution of Valuers is a pioneer institution in valuation. This institution was founded in 1968 by our beloved and respectable late Steve P.C. Goel. Last year on 1st July 2018, Steve P.C. Goel left us. The vacuum created due to his death cannot be filled by anyone, but we, with our efforts, we can fulfill his dreams by strengthening the institution of valuers. He gave us a very good height, and we have to raise this height by our dedication. At present, the strength of the Institution of Values is about 30,000 valuers members spread all over India through its more than 50 branches. The main objective of this institution is to provide highly educated and experienced technocrats as a valuer to the society. The institution provides fellow, associates, license, and student memberships in 20 categories of assets. The members are selected by a team of qualified technocrats who are the members of the membership committee. The committee meets frequently to select its members. It's a well-known fact that the global meaning of valuation is an assessment of the value of different kinds of assets. In this year, a view was taken by the institution to provide the knowledge of valuations to the younger generation. For that, the Institution of Valuers has introduced student membership module. This module is for college students. It was launched as Iceberging by IOV Pune branch. The Honorary General Secretary, Mr. Vinay Goel of this institution, has also made a visit to Himachal Pradesh for its introduction there. I understand that Coimbatore branch and the Tiruchirappalli branch is also making a move towards this aim. From this module, we will be able to give you another field of employment to younger generation through the field of valuation just after obtaining diploma or degree. Every year, the Institution of Valuers conducts its summit. But this year, It has been named as Global Valuation Summit, GVS, because the institution of values for the first time crossing the limit of our nation and approaching globally. Speakers from abroad have also been invited in this summit. This summit is theme-based and the theme is Valuation in Emerging Economics, Shifting Paradigms. This is 2 days summit for 11th and 12th October, that is today and tomorrow. This summit will be in 6 sessions and eminent speakers will share their knowledge and experience. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Learning from all and learning for all. Awards will be given for the outstanding contribution towards valuation profession, along with the awards to the branches who have done commanding work towards this profession. Life. Every day starts with some expectations, but every day ends with some experience. Every king was once a crying baby, and every great building was an open land. It is not what you are today, but what you will become tomorrow. That is life. Success. Before we want to know what is success, first we should know what is growth and what is progress. Growth. A growth is only a material improvement in oneself. For example, if you have 50 crores and tomorrow if you make it 100 crores, it is growth in your self, and that is improvement only and not progress, or it's your success. Progressive. A growth along with its ethical values make improvement in your progress only. This is also subject to improvement along with growth and not success. Now comes to success. Success, a growth plus progress combined with morality, dream, plan, hard work, execution, determination, spirituality, happiness, completely makes success. As Nelson Mandela said, strive not to be success, but rather to be of value. The big question of what is success, because it invariably any action within an organization or a group is heading towards something called success. And to be successful, do anything to get there. And that anything is probably anything right. So what is the definition of success? As a message to do so many of our values. We have about 1,000 values today with us, and many others as well as in our IOV around 30,000. How should they see success? Is it money, admissions in school or college, getting a job, promotion, car, bungalow, etc.? Is that what is the role? What is success? And how can we ensure ethics and values on the road to being successful? So, these are the two questions into one. Back to anecdote from one of the sculptures, what we call success as in the ancient epic of Valmiki called Ramayana. There is the place where Rama trumps over Ravana. He wins the battle. And Ravana's wife Mandodari, she was an erstwhile daughter of Yaksha. Yakshas were powerful people like Bahubalis. She was quite surprised that her husband Ravana, such a great king with such a great valor, could ever be defeated in a battle against humans. For them, humans were primitive mortals who can just about to fight. So she wanted to first abuse the person who defeated her husband, and second, she wanted to have a look, a glimpse of that person who was the defeater. So with her disheveled hair, she comes running on the battlefield, and to her it did not matter that Ram had won over Ravana, and for her, which was not successful. Valmiki is such a great poet. Rama is seated on a stone. The rays of the sun are falling on him, and there is a shadow falling on the earth. The moment Rama was looking at the ground, he saw the shadow of one person fast approaching him. Looking at the shape of the shadow, he could get to understand that this is the shadow of a woman. This lady come to see and abuse that person. He did not know who that person was. He was just looking at the shadow. At that very moment, Valmiki says, he went one step back so that his shadow does not touch the shadow of the other woman. She stops and realizes that success to Rama was not in the battle, but success to Rama was in his character, where he thought the other woman should be equally respected, which did lie best in her husband. So to her success was not tied up as in winning. To her success was with a person who valued the other person equally. So if the question is about success, the definition is very simple. As stated by Subhashidam, Adamaha Dhanam Uchandi, Dhanam Manamcha Matyamaha, Uttamaha Manam Ichandi. The meaning, the people of the lowest caliber seek only money. I don't mind compromising a little on my values. I need little of my values. I use it whenever, wherever, selectively, but I need money as well. This belongs to the middle cadre. The people who respect values are the ones who will remain successful forever. Now coming to our subjects, what is not measured cannot be controlled. What is not controlled cannot be improved. Change is inevitable and innovation is no different. If you go through the whole world, there are 50 examples which failed what we thought it's one of best country business people or companies in the world. What are the reasons? Because of the changes. What they change? Change is inevitable and innovation is no different. A lot of companies that experience innovation success grab onto it and believe that it is the secret to an overarching success. This mindset puts any company at risk of failure, but refusing to evolve with the market can be even more devastating. Without a robust or resilient innovation strategy, no company can survive. That few examples, Kodak, Nokia, Xerox, IBM, BlackBerry, Sony, National Geographic, Enron, and General Motors, etc. For example, we will take Enron. The story of Enron Corporation is the story of the company that reached dramatic heights only to face a dizzying fall. Its collapse affected thousands of employees and shook Wall Street to its core. And Enron's peak, its shares were worth $90.75 when it declared bankruptcy on December 2nd, 2001. They were trading at $0.26 only. Enron Corporation was an American energy, commodities, and services company which was named as America's most innovative company by Fortune from 1996 to 2001. Similarly, there are so many companies in India also by mergers and others, and the list is going ahead. There will be an attraction for today in the evening by a cultural program, a Sufi night by Nisami Bandhu. A dream does not become reality through magic. It takes determination and hard work. That hard work with progressive growth makes success. I announce the opening of Global Valuation Summit 2019 and hope for its grand success. Aim big. What Modi said in Houston during his visit in US, aim big, grow better. We wish the valuers for the bright future in profession and family life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thiagrajan sir. It was indeed brilliant. It is my absolute honor to invite on stage now Mr. Sandip Kumar Deb. He has got the degree in Civil Engineering, Raw Real Estate Valuation and Quantity Survey. He is also a master degree holder in Real Estate Valuation as well as Plant and Machinery Valuation. Mr. Deb is a 2 times gold medal winner of Institution of Valuers as Best Author and Best Editor. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming none other than Mr. Sandip Kumar Deb, the Vice President IOV, to deliver his address.
Professor Niels Bohr introduced a revolutionary idea of quantum physics in 1913, that atoms have discrete energy levels and electrons within an atom can jump from one energy level to the next. To jump from a lower energy orbit to a higher one, an electron has to gather sufficient energy to complete the jump. This is known as quantum jump or quantum leap. Ladies and gentlemen, the valuation profession of emerging economies in general and Indian valuation in particular is at the threshold of such a quantum leap today. Dr. M.A. Sahoo, Chairman, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan, President, Institution of Valuers, Mr. Vinay Goel, Honorary General Secretary, IOV, dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Shapon Panchachai, President, Thai Appraisal Foundation, Mr. Norm, and about 1,200 valuers, bankers, regulators, accountants, engineers, advocates, and architects are assembled here to provide that highly needed energy to Indian valuation so that it can complete its quantum jump successfully and to achieve the goal of creation of a valuation profession supported by its own statute, Valuers Act. Now, emerging economies are nations that are investing in more productive capacity. They are moving away from their traditional economies that have relied on agriculture and the export of raw materials. Leaders of developing countries want to create a better quality of life for their people. They are rapidly industrializing and adopting a free market or mixed economy. Various sources of lists, the list that you have found here, you see someone has given the name of the 10 emerging economies in the world. Some of them has given 20, 21, 25. But all the lists, there are some countries which are common to all of them. These are Brazil, China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Mexico, Philippines, Russia, South Africa, Thailand, and Turkey. They appeared in every list. All these countries are now reshaping their valuation profession, procedures, and standards, and shifting to a new paradigm. The famous Prussian German philosopher Immanuel Kant in 1787 used the phrase revolution of the way of thinking while discussing the conflict between Greek mathematics and Newtonian physics. After nearly 200 years, in 1962, the American physicist and philosopher Thomas Kuhn introduced a new concept, paradigm shift, in his influential book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. According to him, a paradigm shift is a fundamental change in the basic concepts and experimental practices of a scientific discipline. Under normal science, scientists encounter anomalies that cannot be explained by the universally accepted paradigm. To address the crisis, scientists push the boundaries of normal science in what Kant called extraordinary research. Eventually, a new paradigm is formed, which gains its new followers. For Kant, this stage entails both resistance to the new paradigm and reasons for why individual scientists adopt it. According to Max Planck, a new scientific truth does not trump by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it. Ladies and gentlemen, my valuable friends from India and abroad, we are all observing this phenomena, that a lot of changes is taking place all over the world. Those who are able to accept, they are accepting, and those who are not, they are leaving the market. Kant described it as the adoption of a new paradigm, which we are very soon going to see in India. Finally, as aftermath of the scientific revolution, in the long run, the new paradigm becomes institutionalized as the dominant one. Textbooks are written obscuring the revolutionary process. And that has happened, and that is also going to happen. In our case, in the paradigm shift in valuation, globally, what we have observed, and this observation is not only for the emerging economies, but for the developing economies also. The first one is to form a non-regulated regime to a fully regulated regime, which will wholly regulated profession of valuation. The second one, the paradigm shift that the world is observing, is from non-structured valuation, education and training into an university degree in valuation and then starting the profession. The third paradigm shift that is taking place all over the world is from continuous education program for valuers, which we think that it is essential for the valuers only. But the world has found that the continuous education program is also needed for the end users, that is the bankers, auditors, tax authorities, etc. The fourth one that we observe, that from the regime of valuation by judicial pronouncement to the valuation in compliance with international valuation standard. And the final one, the transformation of the valuation profession from the hand of accountant and engineers to the hand of the valuers. Ladies and gentlemen, let us first discuss a little bit about the change in regime, about the change from the non-regulated valuation profession to the regulated one. Let's take us the example of our India. Well, our valuation profession has started long back, immediately after the independence, if we talk about the independent India. And our valuation profession is mostly, if we say regulated at all, it has started from the year 1957 after the introduction of Section 34AB in the Wealth Tax Act. But is that really regulated? The answer is no. There is no such regulation up till 2013. In between that, after a long period of time, something has happened in the valuation field when we have seen the introduction of an handbook not for the valuers, but for the bankers, introduced by the Indian Banks Association in the year of 2011, which we loosely called as the IBBI Handbook on Valuation. That was the first endeavor by an end user to regulate somehow the valuation profession for the valuers and for their own member banks. The second one, I should say it's a revolutionary one, it came in the year of 2013 under the introduction of Section 247 under the Companies Act, New Companies Act, where the term registered valuer first introduced in Companies Act. But then also we have to wait for a long time, for another 4 years, because no regulation was there. Who could be a valuer, who would not be a registered valuer under Companies Act. And finally, thanks to Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India and their dynamic chairman, Dr. Sahoo, who came forward and finally introduced the company's Registered Valuers and Valuation Rule 2017. And we have seen what a change in regulation can change a profession and how this change can take place. The number of valuers suddenly come down for what is an unofficial sources says that at that time in India there were nearly more than 40,000 valuers are practicing. Yes, 40,000 valuers. They might be practicing in banks, they might be practicing in insurance insurance area, they might be practicing in other ways. But well, they all are valuers. They all call themselves valuer. Why this has happened? The same thing is there in India. You will find that those professions which are not guided, which are not empowered by the act of the parliament, anybody and everybody can express themselves at that profession. See the best example of engineers. In India, even a television operator used to put a nameplate outside his building, outside his room, outside his house as electronics engineer. Even an electrical technician used to write to his visiting card, electrical engineer, because the word engineer is not protected by law. But that cannot be so in case of an architect or an advocate. Anybody and everybody cannot claim that he or she is an architect or an advocate. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the time when not only India, but the entire world is watching the second biggest emerging economy of the world, India, what we are going to do, what steps we are going to take to protect the profession of valuation and for the progress of valuation. Let us have our own act. Let us have our own Valuation Act, which will regulate the profession throughout the India and which will be followed by the different countries afterwards. What India thinks today, the entire globe will think tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, the next paradigm shift that the globe is observing is the change of the valuation education. Who will work as a valuer? Now, if we demand that we should be having an Valuers Act by which the word valuer will be protected, then we have to see what has happened, what is there in other acts by which the professional word has been protected. Well, if we consider an Architects Act, if we consider an Advocates Act, well, only training is not sufficient. Not only that, nobody can claim to be an architect unless he has completed either a postgraduate or an undergraduate degree in architecture from a university recognized by the Council of Architecture. That educational program is recognized by the council. And then only after passing an examination, that student will be eligible to apply for the term registered architect. There is no question that you have passed something else from other one, whether you are an engineer or an advocate, and then after attending a training program, or a 500 hours of education program, it may be a mandatory, it may not be a mandatory, not a mandatory one. And after having a training, you could become an architect. The same thing is followed in case of every profession where the professional term is protected by law. You cannot be an architect, I cannot be an advocate unless you have a law degree, not a law training in legal areas from an universities accredited by the Bar Council of India. You cannot be a doctor. You can have a degree of medical science from outside India. You have to have a degree. But even then, the Medical Council of India has to accredit the degree, otherwise you have to appear for a different exam. So ladies and gentlemen, now the entire world is shifting for a valuation education, which will be an university education, undergraduate or postgraduate, and which will be accredited by the Council of Valuation. The next paradigm shift that we are going to see is, the continuous education program for the valuers to the continuing education program for the end users. Well, this has been largely discussed in just finished International Valuation Council meeting in Singapore. This is not the experience of the Indian valuers only, that what has happened wrong in economy, who is responsible? The valuer. It is not only we. The people from Nigeria, the people from Kenya, the people from Romania, the people from Germany, everyone have stood up and said that the situation is the same. Now, why this has happened? Because the IVSC, the council, and all the institutions all over the world, they used to take the continuing education program for the valuers only. But now the time has come when the council and the VPs, that is the valuation VOs, that is the valuation organizations, have to think of giving proper education to the end users so that they can understand the difference between a market value and the liquidation value. They can understand the different situation, what can prevail during valuation of a market value, estimation of a market value, and estimation of a forced sale value. Otherwise, the valuers will always be kept in that level that yes, you are the culprit. Because of you, the economy is facing this problem. But when they will understand that it's not possible to have the same value at the time of secured lending and at the time of auction sale, then only the valuers and the profession could be protected and mutual honor would prevail. And finally, from the regime of judicial pronouncement, we are now entering into the regime of standard. That has been discussed in Pan-Pacific Congress, Kyoto, and all over the world. It is now the situation that now the valuation will not be, the judiciary will follow the standard. The standard will not follow the judiciary. If anything has to be solved, if any queries has to be answered, that will be answered under the light of the standard. The standard will help judiciary to take the final decision. So finally, we are in a situation when the entire profession is converting and converging from the accountants, from the engineers to the valuers. So my dear friends, I believe that very soon the Indian valuers will proudly say that we are not accountant, we are not engineers, we are not architects, but we are valuers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deb, for enlightening us on this brilliant theme of the GVS called Valuation in Emerging Economies, Shifting Paradigms, and it was indeed wonderful. Thank you so much. Once again, I would like to thank everyone on the occasion of the 50th Indian Valuers Congress, of course, being a part of this conglomerate, and which is called the Global Valuation Summit, organized by Institution of Valuers, partner organizations, IOV, RVF, the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, which is called ISK, American Society of Appraisers, ASA, Haibzert from Germany, Singapore Institute of Valuers, SISV, Thai Appraisal and Estate Agents Foundation, Bangladesh Survey and Valuations Company. Thank you very much, everyone, our distinguished dignitaries, and all the partner organizations to be a part of this Global Valuers Summit. Now it is the time to move on to our next speaker. He is the keynote speaker, and it is absolutely my privilege to introduce him here in front of you. Dr. Norm Miller is the Hahn Chair of the Real Estate Finance at the University of San Diego and is affiliated with USD's Burnham Moore's Center for Real Estate. He received his PhD from Ohio State University and has published numerous academic articles, books, and articles in trade market publications on housing brokerage, mortgages risks, valuation, sustainable real estate, and many other topics. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming our keynote speaker who will be speaking on PC Goel Memorial Lecture, Dr. John Miller, to deliver his address.
Namaste. It's an honor to be giving a memorial lecture here. And as we heard from our first speaker, change is inevitable. There's three things I'm going to talk to you about this morning. Of course, I got in at 2 a.m. this morning to my hotel. I had 3 cups of coffee. I hope that's just the right amount to cover this. But the 3 things that I want to talk about today are, first, paying heed to our predecessors and noting that valuation methodologies do evolve, just like all business process. Second, I want to spend just a few minutes on where we are going in terms of disruptors, technology, and things that I watch. It's a snippet of a lecture I gave at MIT 2 years ago. And then third, based on the theme of this conference, I decided to spend a little bit of time on technology and valuation and give you some examples of some automated and hybrid valuation models that we use today. So there's 3 things that I will talk about. I'm sorry I don't have many business cards, but I do have a website, which is noted there. And I do use LinkedIn to connect to people, and I post things that I write periodically there. So if you use LinkedIn, you're welcome to connect with me. So let's start with the first part. I was going the wrong way. My first point is that valuation is important. It's important for all economies. We cannot have efficient capital markets if we cannot have good valuation process. It's one of the most important things supporting our capital markets. And appraisal, it's an art. It's not a science, which is why appraisers will disagree on value. So my point is that what you do is important, very important. Of course, the key thing in better valuation models is better data. And we can probably discuss in later sessions how we produce better data. I'm going to show you some things today based on having good data. Secondly, better technology. But the technology is already here. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of valuation. Again, my point is that the processes and the theories are not static, not even the models. I'm wondering if I can use this mic instead and scoot over. I'm going to do that. So the roots of valuation go back over 130 years. And again, paying heed to our predecessors is a good idea and appropriate for a memorial lecture. One of my points is that traditional appraisal methods change. I note that many of my friends that work in the appraisal profession, they go many years without necessarily changing anything, and they don't see the long-term picture that, in fact, the field has changed a lot. It changed over their lifetime, and it's continuing to change. So nothing stays the same. I'm not going to cover Adam Smith and some of the earlier economists, but the beginning of real estate as an academic field, one of the grandfathers was Richard Ely. And he wrote a book. He lived a long time ago. He wrote a book on land economics in 1893. And he started laying out some of the principles for how we would value real estate. Another author, Richard Hurd, he wrote the City Land Values, Principles of City Land Values. It's considered one of the first books on the theory of valuation. He introduced the idea of highest and best use. He called it highest utilization. Then Babcock came along. He wrote a book called The Appraisal of Real Estate. It evolved into what the Appraisal Institute in the United States uses as their textbook today. And he talked about 7 methods of appraisal. Now, I assume that most of you talk about 3 primary methods and maybe more, but Babcock long ago talked about 7 approaches. And then Graskamp came along, and he promoted discounted cash flow analysis for income properties. He said, use all the detail possible. He criticized highest and best use. He said it was an arrogant and unrealistic term. We should use most probable use. And the point that he was making is we're not always creative enough to know what the highest and best use is. So what have we learned from these thought leaders and many, many others? Well, we've learned that they were all critical of the industry that they helped to create and sustain. They were critical of the appraisal industry. And they helped, by criticizing it, to evolve it and make it better. And we all influence each other. We learn from each other, our professors and our colleagues and our institutions. And we should never accept industry practices as the state of the art. Any implications on real estate. The decline of the United States as a global power, the increase of China, India, and others. This is a trend that will continue. And as these other countries have more influence than the US, the dollar will eventually become less of a global trading currency. Third, climate change. The value implications are immense. It's actually positive if you're in Russia or Canada. It's negative for much of the rest of the world. Floods, insurance, crop damage, less predictable weather, They're having effects on real estate. It's not clear that the markets always pick it up. We have to be objective in understanding how the market is interpreting and perceiving these risks. Fourth, batteries. It's the biggest technological change by itself. Batteries. Redesign batteries from lithium ion that are in layers to those that are more like a pomegranate inside can hold 5 times the amount of power that the old batteries can hold. My colleague, Dr. Vivek Sai, asked me how far I can drive my Tesla. And I said, I can drive 500 kilometers on one charge. But with this battery, I could drive 2,500 kilometers on one charge. That's a game changer. Combining batteries with solar PV cells and microgrids, and we have a whole new ability to develop real estate in new ways. My fifth trend, 3D printing, stronger composites affecting how we build buildings, using materials that mimic the natural world, biomimicry. And the reason we can do this is because of 3D printing. We couldn't do it before, it was very inefficient. And we can build concrete structures quicker, cheaper, with less waste and less labor. 6, automated electric cars and trucks. The implications are enormous in building designs, parking cost, more urban street demand. 7th, urban factory farming to feed a world with more people. It's highly efficient. We can produce 20 times as much food in the same square meter area with urban factory farming. And we can do it without pesticides. And we can combine it with fish farming and have a total ecosystem that uses 1% of the water that normal farms need. Automation machines with artificial intelligence and machine learning. They keep getting better and better. And they keep getting smaller. And this enables the amplification of human abilities. And we could talk a lot about this, but I'm just going to move to my last one. Education online. More individualized, customized online learning that will enable a lot of the world to catch up, even if they don't have the best schools in their backyards, because we'll be able to share with technology the best expertise from around the world. So one of the implications are that we don't need as much real estate as we did before for certain uses. Libraries, gas stations, retail, office, home garages, traditional schools. But we're going to need more real estate in other areas. 3D printing, more remote parking, multi-transit nodes, urban farms, recharging stations, data centers, data centers, data centers, virtual reality conference centers, and there are others as well. So those are some of the trends that I'm watching. And now let me shift a little bit into technology and interactive automated valuation. How do automated valuation models work? It starts with data. Data is the key, and again, we could talk later on about how to get data together. But you run many, many models, 5 models, 6 models. I work with the firm that runs 11 models. And the way they typically work is with, here's 5 typical models. Multiple regression hedonic models. This is nothing but statistical correlations applied to estimating price. Time-adjusted, index-driven prior sale prices. This, I believe, should be a model. That is, you take the old price from several years ago and you update it with an index. The key is doing a good index. And if the price was equilibrium in the first sale, it will be a good estimate of value in the second sale, or the second period. Third, appraisal emulation. Appraisal grid, market comparison, sales comparison, whatever you want to call it, using a similarity score to pick out comparables and adjust them. Price rent multiple models and valuation models, discounted cash flow models. AVMs can run all of these models and more. You also have to adjust for the type of sale. Is it a regular sale or foreclosure from a bank, a real estate owned sale from a bank, or a short sale, which is less than the mortgage amount? So let me give you some examples of AVMs. So I'm going to start with residential. And if we could play the first Paven Zoom file. This is in real time. This is a menu of products from a firm called Collateral Analytics. So I'm going to pick out an interactive valuation model here, and I'm going to type in the address of my mother's home. She's gone now for many years, but she used to live in this home, so it was a safe one. I knew the address for a test. So I type in the address, if you can see the screen. I say, find the home. It does. And I say, tell me the value. And this is in real time. I recorded this recently. That's how long it took to get the value. And at the very bottom of the screen, you might see the value is $252,000 US. And then it tells me some background about it. But note that the confidence interval is not that high. It's only 67%. So I'm not that sure about this value. And that's one of the important metrics I get out of AVMs, whether I'm sure of the value or not sure. The subject property is right in the middle with a little arrow there. And then these are the comparables that were used in the model. And they're actually listed out. Now, if I use an interactive model, I can go back and click some of these off. So I don't think some of them are appropriate because I'm an expert in this neighborhood. So I'm going to click 2 of them off. And then I'm going to say revalue it. And this is in real time. That is, I recorded it for as long as it took me to do the value. So I went ahead and I clicked on revalue it. Then I go back up. And in real time, I get a new value. And the new value is $229,000. So I eliminated some of the comparables that I knew were not appropriate because I was using my expertise with the AVM. Now let's say that this was a foreclosure sale, and I wanted to know the liquidation value. So I'm going to go back and click short sale and REO sale. I don't know if you can see that, but I only want comparables that are short sales and REO sales. And I revalue it, and what do I get? $141,000. So if I was estimating for a bank what the value of this would be in liquidation, it would be $141,000. And if I was valuing it not in a distressed situation, the value would be $229 or whatever we just came out with. And then I provide some statistics automatically about this particular home. So that's an example of a residential AVM, and I can run it for both regular values and not. I can look at the confidence metrics, which are very, very important, and we can talk about that this afternoon if we have more time. So let me go down to the next example. So my next example, I want to exit out of this, and I want to show the next MP4 file. So this is, I think I skipped one. Should be one other one before this, my second one. I'm going to show you 2 commercial properties. So this is in real time again. I'm recording it at the same time as it took me to run the valuations. This is a commercial property. I'm going to type in the address, 9945 Commerce Avenue. I type in the zip code. That's all I need to find the property. I have to tell the model the kind of property it is. It's an office building. I say search for it and find it. I'm sure you have a few questions. This again is in real time. So I recorded it while I was on the computer. And it took a little bit of time. We had a go to the server, go to the satellite dish, back to the Earth. And then it came up with a value. This is a small town in California, and the value is 681,700 there. Now notice there's 5 models I ran. A time adjustment model, gross income multiplier model, price per building area, price per assessed value, and a capitalization model. I used all those models to come up with this conclusion, and this is the building itself. I just wanted you to see this is all embedded in the report where you can see the building and look around the neighborhood. And the subject property is right there in the middle, and then the comparables are all along this major road where office property is developed. And I see the comparables there. Now, I also run a lot of statistics, and I don't think you can see this, but I'm looking at these relationships and how strong they are, and I run a correlation statistic against each of these metrics, and I see as an example, I can read it to you. Gross income versus building area, it's over 96% correlation. NOI versus building area is very high. Sales price versus gross revenue, sold price, it's very, very high relationships. So I feel very good about the value from those models. Let me show you one more. If we can go to the third example, right there, the large commercial property. So I'm going to type in an address again. This time it's in Boston, big city, bigger property, Atlantic Avenue. Type in the new zip code. Search for the property. And this is real time again. I didn't edit anything out. So you're waiting while the computer's running, gives you an idea of the speed. So it has to find the property, and it has to pull the data up. And there it is, 124,876,500 US dollars. Now notice it only ran 3 models because their data quality was not good enough to run 5 models or more. So now it's 3 models that were run. And here's the property, and I'll just show you what it looks like. I can look around the neighborhood, up and down, and I can do this in San Diego even though I'm valuing a property in Boston. That's the building, big building. Not that big for Boston, but $125 million building. And then again, I can see the comparables that were used in this model. So if I go on down, I can see the subject property right there where the hand is, and then all the comparables are shown around. And if this was interactive, I could eliminate the ones I didn't want. In this case, I let the computer decide. And then I see the relationships again with all those variables, and I know how reliable the model is. And that's an example of AVMs and where I think we're heading, and of course the key is data, is good data. And I see that my time must be up, so I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. And it was indeed my pleasure to listen to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just received one of our distinguished guests, the guest of honor, Mr. Vijay Garg, here, and I would like to invite him on the stage. Mr. Garg, please come and take your seats in the dais. And I would request Mr. Neeraj Kapoor to present to Mr. Garg with a flower bouquet. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is the time that I would like to invite our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo, and it's really my privilege to introduce him in front of you. Dr. M.S. Sahoo, an acclaimed thought leader in the area of securities markets and a distinguished public servant, currently serves as chairperson of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Dr. Sahoo has substantially influenced reforms in India's security market over the last 2 decades. He has conceptualized, designed, and steered major reforms such as dematerialization of securities in the year 1995, architecture of regulator and regulatory tribunal in the year 1995, trading of derivatives in the year 1999, online examination for market professionals in the year 2000, setting up National Institute of Securities Markets in the year 2004, litigation relating to brokers' fee in the year 2004, demutualization of stock exchanges in the year 2005, trading of currency derivatives in the year 2008, and I'm sure many more. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo, to say a few words.
Mr. Thiagrajan, President of the IOB, Mr. Goel, Managing Director, IOB RBF and General Secretary IOB, Professor Miller, distinguished delegates from abroad, distinguished guests on and off the dais, friends, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear registered valuers. At the outset, I must congratulate IOB for completing its 50 years of glorious service to the valuation profession. I must also compliment IOB for organizing a global valuation summit of this scale when India is embarking on a major reforms to give due recognition to the valuation profession. And I must thank also IOB for taking IBBI as a partner of this global valuation summit. I thank IOB for being the first to set up a registered valuer organization, and it is today the largest valuer organization in the country. And I hear that IOB has got interest from other countries to help them to set up their valuation organizations. Probably Mr. Goel would share that with you. But most importantly, I am introduced to the world of valuation mostly on account of the IOB. In the initial days when IBBI was set up and we are looking for somebody who can do valuation with some authenticity, some accountability, and we are looking for, there is a provision in the Companies Act, section 247, saying that there are registered valuers, but we didn't have any. So that was the time we started thinking about this. We have come this far. Maybe in the next technical session, which is more devoted to the institutional framework, we'll be discussing more about that. But some of you may be wondering why Insolvency Board of India, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, and I am here. It's a little surprising because from the name it does not sound anyway familiar with the valuation profession. But let me assure you that IBBI is only a guest artist in this drama. Drama is yours, you are the permanent artist, you are earning a livelihood, you have lifelong stake in this profession. IBBI is there only to handhold it for a short time, and as soon as we get a proper institutional framework that this profession deserves, IBBI should be away from this place. As I told, I am a completely novice in the area of valuation. IBBI has absolutely no capacity. I get at times criticism that your officers are not academically qualified to do the development and regulation of valuation. Fully agreed. But as I told you, this is a stopgap arrangement. We do not understand anything about value, but what Professor Miller told is very important, that valuation is not as much a science as much an art. All of us are familiar with the price. Market gives price. Price is the main product of market, and we all believe that market is the most powerful creation of human beings, probably next only to God we have created. And the output market gives, that directly competes with the output of a valuer. Valuer is producing something, estimating a value of something which he claims that it is more authentic than market can produce, because market can at times deliver a spurious price, market can be manipulated. But we believe that a valuer who has capability, who has integrity, who believes in code of conduct, can estimate a value which is much more authentic than price. Price is something which is not something absolute. It changes from context to context. Some price which Uber charges in the morning is a good price. In the evening it becomes a bad price. Similarly, when a valuer is trying to value something, it is keeping at the back of his mind the context. You can have data, you can have models, you can have artificial intelligence, machine to help you, so many tools available on the websites of valuers. But what you need beyond all this is, beyond all this is that art. You need to have the science part, you need to acquire the knowledge through qualification, experience, internship, but beyond that there is something which a machine cannot do. That's why at times I believe that there was a time when a valuer was competing with another valuer. He started competing with the valuers, with the other professionals, started competing with the machines, because machine is trying to take away work from every profession, not only valuers. The work which used to be done by a professional a few years ago or a human being are being done today by the machines. So unless the valuer is able to give a little more value addition that machines can give, machines will finish the profession of valuation. And that is what Mr. Dev was talking about, the importance of continuing professional education. I am more familiar with the securities market, where there used to be a group of people called traders. They were the highest paid people in the securities market because they had the ability to instantaneously react and place an order and make money. And they could do it so quickly, which machines could not do at that point of time. But it so happened in a few years, machines did better than what a trader was doing. And today, most of the trading all over the world is done by machines, not human beings. It's such sophisticated work which was dependent on the skill of a person has been taken away by the machines. So we are competing with machines. In fact, only way we are different from machines is that we apply mind, we apply an ethical mind. The application of an ethical mind of which machine may not understand, and that is also a context specific. And that is the only thing, if we can have and can have a regular continuing professional education, probably we can retain our space, otherwise this space will be taken over by somebody else. Our endeavor over last 2 years, we have made considerable journey. As was mentioned in 2017, we got a rule, but we had a long history, IOB going back to 68, and even before that also, we have evidence of some valuation work, some people doing valuation, but not in such an organized form. Most of us have made a living out of the valuation profession. When the world was changing, I have a professional qualification in company secretary. This profession got statutory recognition in 1980, the Company Secretaries Act 1980 came. I am wondering why the valuation profession with 30,000 members with the IOB, 50,000, 70,000 in India, having a much longer history, why we did not get that statutory recognition. In 2016, another profession came up which I am associated is the insolvency profession. That profession was born with a statutory tag. So something was wrong, or we didn't allow ourselves, we didn't think ahead of our future. We thought, okay, I am making a living, but I didn't plan for what Mr. Dev was telling, I think, when giving the example of architect. We didn't want to add to our name, prefix to our name, Dr. so-and-so, CS so-and-so. We remained happy with a subsistence level of valuation services. We didn't want to move to get the respectability of the society. And the time has come, over last 2 years, as I told you, we have moved to a considerable distance. In fact, the law was specifically amended, section 247, by removal of a difficulties order, which was not visualized in 2013 Act, to give a legitimate place to RVOs. We all along have been conscious that if anything has to be done, it has to be done with the existing people, existing infrastructure, existing systems and practices, not that we discard everything and build everything afresh. Objective is to do as much as possible, grounded on the realities, do minimum disturbance, least disruptive, incremental, but have some discipline. When I say this does not mean that I get demands, because today there is a committee to develop an institutional framework of which I am the chairman. We are doing extensive consultation with the stakeholders, including RVOs, RVs, everywhere. But we get a demand that there should be a transition arrangement for existing valuers, and that transition should be not about the RVs who are already registered. We should simply walk in and accept as we are. You can plan something for future, but we will walk in and we will be registered valuer under the new framework. So there is a resistance to go through a discipline screening. And if that kind of a resistance we have, then we can't move at all. We will remain where we are, and we have successfully resisted reforms in valuation profession for last 50 years. And I would say, in fact, this is your last chance if you do not move. Probably again you may not get another chance. There is already a framework, 3,000 registered valuers, 11 RVOs, there are valuation rules. And there is a thinking that let's come up with an institutional framework, give the due recognition, statutory framework to this profession. But if you want that, no, we do not want any discipline, any regulation, but we will be only enjoying the benefits. That does not work out. It is not one-sided. You have to give something if you want to take something. And if I can give you an example, the progress we have made, we have examinations, 3 examinations, 4 times a day, 365 days of the year. But one particular aspect is that we are new to this area. IBBI has no capacity, but we had some people who helped IBBI who in fact prepared the study material in two disciplines, plant and machinery and land and building. These people are from CVS RTA, each running 1800 pages of study material and considered to be the longest study material in the valuation area. And today we find this study material is available on the websites of international registered valuer organizations or equivalents, European Group of Valuers Associations, which is a confederation of 77 RVOs from 35 countries. They use this study material. Our people have prepared study material for the world. We have the capacity. IBBI is lucky in a sense that we provided cradle to the profession of insolvency profession. We are doing for valuation profession. But we have something called a graduate insolvency program which does not exist anywhere in the world. So we are new to this area. Insolvency bankruptcy is 3-year-old, but still we have, I think Mr. Dev told, India thinks today what it will think today, world should think tomorrow. This is another example that where India has thought and has commenced a graduate insolvency program with a batch of 40 people at Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. And the world is asking us how you have done it and how we can replicate it. So we have moved, but we must always remember that this is a stopgap arrangement, something much stronger footing. We should have an institutional framework. Work has begun. Please help and get what is your rightful due. There are several issues. There is again talk about the continuing professional education. I look at when we design a framework for valuation profession, we need to visualize 4 markets. These are 4 independent, different segments, completely segregated 4 markets. One market is a market for valuation service. When I talk about market, I am meaning in a market economy. When we talk in a market economy, the market structure, perfect competition, monopoly, having control over price, how many participants, does anybody have substantial control at a marketplace to abuse his position? So what kind of incentives, disincentives, structures we should develop at 4 of these marketplaces so that consumer remains always at foremost of our mind, not that we have just got a license to do this work and no one else can do and we least care for the consumers. So when we talk about market, consumer is the king, consumer is the focus, so you have to think about user and client. And how do you have that focus in these 4 market segments? One is the market for valuation services. You have some kind of enterprises, entities providing services, individual providing services. There are talk about whether you allow layers of entities, corporate subsidiaries, and how I am told that 90% of market share is with one set of people, 10% market share with another set. So there are many complications. Similarly is also the market for valuers, market for educational services, including what Professor Miller was talking about, the massive online open courses. What kind of model we should have? We discussed and people suggest you should have the model chartered accountants have. Another viewers have the model what Bar Council has. Universities produce law students. Thereafter Bar Council admits them. You can think of massive online open courses. You can think of just coaching classes. You can have a super 30 kind of arrangement also. So, but it's up to you, but you have to think what works. The market for education of valuers, the market for continuing professional education also, and the market for research included within this, and the market for regulation. Today we have 2-tier regulators, and we have a very tight regime of the governance of both the tiers. How do you want 1 tier, 2 tier, their governance arrangements? So it's not while you are focused on every such regulator, it can be IBBI equivalent, some central regulator and RVO, each of these regulators, if you look at Chartered Accountants Act, it says that this is an act for regulation. In fact, these regulators or these bodies, their primary job is regulation. Because it is their monopoly position, nobody else can do regulation. But everyone else can do development, education. Any university can provide education on valuation disciplines. That is not exclusive domain of RVO or IBBI equivalent or anybody whosoever come in its place. Maybe the SEBI or some capital market institute can teach capital markets better than what IOB or RVF can do. So development is and cannot be the sole preserve of IOB, RVO or the regulator, and you must compete at a marketplace for developmental work. But in the space of regulation, you are a mini state having the powers of quasi-legislative work, executive work, and quasi-judicial work. An RVO will stand out only if it excels only in this regulatory work. I am told in some countries there are, in valuation profession in US or in some countries in some other professions, people specifically ask, I want a valuer from this RVO. The valuers of that RVO command a price on average higher than the valuers of other organizations by 25%, 30%, 40%. So RVOs should find a role that market wants them. Today, like we have, let's say somebody, the recruiters prefer, I want a student from Delhi School of Economics or Stephens College. Similar should be situation that I want an RV from IOB, RVF. So that is where you can excel, that is where you can justify your existence, and that is where you can compete. But in the space of a regulation, there cannot be any compromise. So that's why the importance of the governance of a regulator is very important. World is changing, we are told, and we have to move with the world. We have the experience of running so many professions in the country and seeing the valuation regulation being regulated in the world. We are starting on an absolute clean slate today, and therefore we are in a position to take best from everywhere and even do better than that. In fact, we should give a model today which is better, which tomorrow chartered accountant or advocates or doctors profession would say that we would like to follow the model of valuer profession. The way it is developed and regulated, that is the best. And we should work for that, which should produce, I say that you are not valuation professionals, our system should produce the most valuable professionals worthy of emulation by other professions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sahoo. And ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to honor all our distinguished dignitaries with the memento and with the shawl. And to do the honor, I would like to request Mr. Vinay Goel to come forward and honor our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo, with the shawl and with the memento. Now I would like to request our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo, to honor one of our keynote speaker and dignitary, Dr. Norm Miller, with the shawl and the memento. Once again, I would request our chief guest, Dr. Sahoo, to come forward and honor one of our dignitary, Dr. Sopan. I would request our chief guest, Dr. Sahoo, once again to come forward and honor with the shawl and the memento to one of our guest of honors, Mr. Vijay Garg. Requesting Mr. Vinay Goel to honor Mr. Thiagrajan, the president of IOV, with the shawl and the memento. Thank you, gentlemen. Now it is the time for all the awardees. I would request all the awardees to please organize yourself, and I would like to invite them on stage one by one. And to do the honor, I would request our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo and Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan, to please come forward. Rest of the dignitaries, I would request all of you to please take your seats. And before we proceed, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Abraham Samoy. We have been waiting for him for quite a long time. Can I invite him on the stage? He is the MD White Rock Consulting Limited, and he is one of the dignitaries who was invited on the dais. But unfortunately, he is late with us today. But we are really, really very honored and privileged to have him along with us. And I would request Mr. Vinay Goel and our chief guest, Dr. Sahoo, to honor him with the shawl and the memento. The first award list that we have, which is called the Individual Awardees for Global Valuation Summit 2019. This is the individual award category. The name of the award is PC Goel Lifetime Achievement Award, and the award winner is Mr. C.H. Gopinatha Rao. Lifetime contribution to the institution. And I think Mr. D. Parthasarathi, the Vice Chairman of Chennai branch, receiving the award on his behalf. In the individual category, the next award name that we have is Valuers Excellence Award, instituted by Mr. S. Deshpande. And the award winner is Mr. G.L. Kulkarni. In the same, under the same name of the award, Valuers Excellence Award, I would like to invite on stage now Mr. G.P. Mathur. the Valuers Excellence Award. The next award winner, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Deepak C. Shah. And on behalf of Mr. Shah, Mr. R.K. Patel will be receiving the award. Ladies and gentlemen, these award winners have been awarded for their extremely useful services rendered to the institution. Can we have a big round of applause, please? Thank you. The award name is Gold Medal, and once again, I would request Mr. R.K. Patel to remain on the stage. Article titled Going Concern versus Liquidation Value, published in April 2019, Indian Valuer Journal. And I would request our chief guest, Thiagrajan sir and Goel sir, to honor our award winner with the award. That is, of course, Mr. R.K. Patel. For the silver medal, I would like to invite on stage the award winner, Mr. N.K. Kumar. Article titled Environmental Impact Assessment and its Repercussions on Valuation of Assets, published in June 2019, Indian Valuer Journal. And for the bronze medal, I would like to invite Mr. A.M. Ibrahim, but I think unfortunately he is not present here today. So it will be handed over to him, either in his office or it will be forwarded to him. The article that for which he is receiving the bronze medal is titled as Valuation of Financial Instruments, published in December 2018, Indian Valuer Journal. And the next award, the name of the award is Dr. B.N. Gupta Award, and the award winner is Hahn Chandra. Mr. Hahn Chandra, I would request you to please be on the stage to receive your award. Dr. B.N. Gupta of Chennai has instituted an award on topic of valuation of real properties or any other topic as council may decide unanimously amongst the best article published in the Indian Valuer during a year. That is Mr. Chandra. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next category, which is called the Branch Award for the overall performance. The branch name is Pune. The award is performing branch. The branch name is Chennai. And now I would like to invite on stage to receive the award Mr. P. Anand Raju. Congratulations. That is Mr. P. Anand Raju, because the chairman. The performing branch award, the branch name is Coimbatore. I would like to invite on stage to receive the award the chairman, Mr. M. Adai Kalavan. Once again, award performing branch. The branch is Hyderabad. And I would like to invite the chairman to receive the award, Mr. P. Madhu. The next award name is Progressive Branch. Progressive Branch. And the branch name is Ahmedabad. I would request the chairman to receive the award on behalf of the branch. Mr. Paresh S. Shah, please, on the stage. Progressive Branch, Bangalore. I didn't know Bangalore had some extra energy from the morning. The other region also can keep it up, though I know, India shows the integrity in diversity. So, gentlemen, come on, back up. So, Bangalore, I would like to invite on stage the chairman, of course, Mr. G.S. Raju. Progressive Branch, Mysore. And I would like to invite Mr. T.V. Chandra, the chairman, to receive the award. Moving on to the Progressive Branch, Indore. I would like to invite on stage the chairman, Mr. Pumesh Baheti, to receive the award. Progressive Branch, Udaipur. I would like to invite the chairman to receive the award on behalf of the Progressive Branch, Udaipur, Mr. G.P. Mathur. Progressive Branch, Tiruchirappalli. I would like to invite the chairman to receive the award on behalf of the branch, Mr. R. Murugeshwan. Progressive Branch, Lucknow. Once again, I would like to invite the chairman representing the branch to receive the award, Mr. Khazan Chandra. Can you please put your hands together for Mr. Chandra? He also is an award winner in the individual category. Progressive Branch, Kolkata. And on behalf of the branch, Kolkata branch, I would request Mr. Sandip Kumar Dev to receive the award. after Progressive Branch. Now the award name is Emerging Branch. And the branch name is Tirupati. I would like to invite on stage Mr. A.K. Narayana Reddy to receive the award. Emerging Branch Vijayawada. I would like to invite on stage to receive the award the Chairman K.S.R. Kutumba Rao. Now I would like to invite on stage for the emerging branch. The branch name is Raipur. The chairman to receive the award, Mr. Suresh Kumar Kesarwani. Seems Mr. Kesarwani is very popular. Emerging Branch Goa. I would like to invite the chairman to receive the award on behalf of Goa branch, Mr. Ernesto Moniz. Emerging Branch Mumbai. Mr. Vishwajit Singh Jadon is the chairman. I would request him to receive the award on behalf of his branch Mumbai. Emerging Branch Agra. And now I would like to invite on stage Mr. Archana Yadav, the chairman, to receive the award on the behalf of branch Agra. I'm sorry, Mrs. Archana Yadav. Emerging Branch Erode, and I would like to invite Mr. S. Devanandan, the chairman, to receive the award from his branch. Emerging Branch Amritsar, and I believe the chairperson is not present here today. So I would like to invite the secretary, Mr. Sunil Saini, to receive the award on behalf of Amritsar branch. Mr. Sunil Saini. Emerging Branch Aurangabad. I would like to invite on stage to receive the award on behalf of Aurangabad branch, the chairman, Mr. Mukund P. Bondre. Emerging Branch Puducherry, I would like to invite on stage the chairperson, the chairman, Mr. Thiagrajan, to receive the award on behalf of the branch Puducherry. Now moving on to the next category of the award. It is called Senior Veteran Members of IOV, and we're really very proud to have them along with us today, and of course their constant support and love for this organization. I would like to invite on stage to receive the award Shri H.T. Shah, the former Vice President from the city Surat. He's not present. Moving on to the next name, I would like to invite on stage Mr. S.S.K. Bhagat, the former Vice President from the city Delhi. Mr. J.R. Rawal, former council member from the city Mumbai. Dr. Ashok Nayan, the senior member from the city Kolkata. Now I would like to invite on stage Mr. G.S. Angadi, the senior member and former chairman of Hubli branch from the city Hubli. Mr. Angadi. Here on the stage right now is Mr. S.S.K. Bhagat, the former president, former vice president. And now I would request Mr. Angadi to please come forward. He's a senior member and former chairman of Hubli branch. I would like to invite on stage now Mr. Raj Agarwal, former council member, to receive the award from the city Delhi. I would now like to invite on stage Mr. M.L. Agarwal, former council member from the city Delhi, to receive the award. I think he's also not present here. Well, congratulations to all the award winners, and thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. You may take your seats, please. And I would request Mr. Vinay Goel, the Honorary General Secretary, Institution of Valuers, to come forward to the podium and deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning. Welcome to GBS 2019 in the city of Delhi. This city has an historical importance. It's way back in during the Mahabharata times or Pandava times, this first Indraprasth city took shape. And since then, number of upheavals, number of disruptions, number of changes. But today, during the British time, and since that, Delhi is the capital of India. And I hope that all of you who have come from across the country or across the globe will enjoy this hospitality of city Delhi. Today, when I stand here on this platform to commemorate 50th Indian Valuer Congress, an annual congregational program being held by IOV continuously since its inception in the year 1968, I am filled with gratitude and thank God, my father late P.C. Goel ji, and my mother, who have been instrumental in providing me with this opportunity to express my gratefulness to the presence of a magnificent, eminent, valuable, and mammoth gathering of renowned personalities on the dais and valuers fraternity from across India, along with the guests from various parts of the world. Marching towards to meet the challenges posed in emerging economies when boundaries of global outreach are giving ways to cross-border professional services, it is befitting for the institution of valuers, being the largest and oldest organization of India in valuation, to host first ever Global Valuation Summit at this point of time, coinciding with completion of Golden Jubilee year of IOV's formation. To mark this, on behalf of IOV, I am honored to thank our chief guest, Dr. M.S. Sahoo. Dr. Sahoo doesn't need any introduction, and he agreed, and I'm thankful for that, to be the partner of this event, that is Global Valuation Summit. Please join me to express warm and sincere thanks on behalf of Institution of Valuers and all of us here present today to Honorable Dr. M.S. Sahoo, Chairman. Dr. Sahoo, as I know, his compassion and empathetic view of valuers and valuation as a profession is yielding such positive results where profession is heading in a direction to achieve the identification of valuation as a profession in its most deserved place. I really feel grateful, and today he gave his insight as well during his address. And he is the person who has made it possible in so many years that we are leading towards a definite passage of making our dreams come true. Thank you, Dr. Sahoo. It's my pleasure to thank our honored guest, Dr. Norm Miller, who has come all the way from America to attend this Global Valuation Summit and gave some of his insights for the technological use of in valuation. Thanks, Dr. Norm. And Mr. Abraham from Kenya, and Mr. Dr. Sopon Ponchakchai from Thailand, coming all the way from Thailand, and he has been already there in our Indian Valuer Congress. And Mr. Vijay Garg, Chairman, Council of Architecture, to join us as honored guests. And I'm grateful to Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan, distinguished guests, other valuers, eminent speakers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to thank the associating and partnering IOV RVF and various valuation organizations from across the world. This association gives the required impetus to the valuers fraternity aspiring for a global outreach. Nothing can be better when our neighboring Bangladesh, who are present here, their secretary requested us to help them to form an institution of valuers in and Bangladesh. I, on behalf of IOV, assure them that India will help in all respects to form their institute, and we also offer them our membership as well. So that is the outreach we were expecting, and we are, thanks for asking us that. Nothing is possible as an institution without the efforts of a team, where I sincerely thank Mr. P.K. Thiagrajan, President IOV, for his relentless service towards the fraternity and unquestionable cooperation from Vice Presidents Colonel B.B. Sharma and Mr. Sandip Kumar Dev, Treasurer Mr. Neeraj Kapoor, and a dynamic team of fellow council members who have made the task of discharging the affairs of the institution as Honorary General Secretary possible for me, and especially devising this entire global valuation system, global valuation summit. It is fortunate to have Shri Arun Kumar Saxena, the Registrar of IOV, and his entire staff in matching the organization's aspiration, and would like to thank them all. Not to forget Mr. Saurabh Gupta, General Manager, and his team at IOV RVF for their relentless efforts in tandem with IOV to make this GVS a big success. My thanks shall remain incomplete without offering my sincere appreciation of efforts put up by the production, event, and catering teams deployed at this event for their cooperation and efforts to serve all of you in best possible way. I wish the valuous fraternity present here to enrich themselves with the knowledge through the technical sessions to be held in these days on the theme Valuation in Emerging Economies, Shifting Paradigms. And I also once again thank all the participants of this event for their valuable contribution to the success of this special day. Thank you, and wish you a very good 2 days session of Indian Valuers Congress in the form of Global Valuation Summit. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would request everyone to please stand up at your own place for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
बस सर एक बार Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are quickly going for a tea break. Already we are running a little short of time, so we've cut the tea break from half an hour to 15 minutes. So I would request you to finish off your tea break super fast and come back, because we have a very informative and